To pay such an invoice with the invoice in hand, you will log onto PeopleSoft, which is my BJC Net. If prompted, enter your login ID and password. If you do not land on the My HR homepage, use the drop-down on the top left of your screen to select My HR. When you land on the My HR homepage, you will see multiple tiles. This is the same homepage one would use to view their paycheck, create an expense, and with this tile that you see here, create a payment request. Click on the Payment Request tile. Then click the Payment Request Center. The first time that you come into the Payment Request Center, it will look just as my screen does now. Because you will not begin with transaction history, you will have a blank screen. However, for training purposes, I will work in the test environment to allow you to see the 3 sections of the Payment Request Center. The first section that we will begin with will be your history and how to sort your history. Once you have created a payment request, you will see what we call the header information. You will also see your accumulated transactions below. Use the header information to sort by request ID, which is also your payment request ID. You can also sort by the unique invoice number, invoice date, payment request description, supplier, or any of the other headers listed on the screen. Clicking once will sort ascending. Clicking again will sort descending. When viewing each payment request within the Payment Request Center, please note the differences between the following payment request statuses. Payment request with the status of new indicates the payment request has not been submitted and is not currently being processed within the payment request workflow. This is a draft request. A new request may be updated, canceled, or copied. We will review the update and cancel features later in the training. A payment request with a canceled status indicates the payment request has been canceled by the user and no longer available to be modified. The payment request will also be canceled by the system administrator when the approver has not taken action to approve or deny after 20 days. Lastly, the accounts payable department may have closed or deleted the voucher associated with your payment request. If this occurs, your request status will show as canceled. Canceled payment request cannot be updated or resubmitted. You may only use the copy feature. The pending status indicates the payment request has been submitted, but pending approval within the workflow thread. Click on the transaction to review the approval history, which is located at the bottom of your screen. In this example, I can see that my manager has completed his approval. My request is pending a WashU vendor approver, and it has not been routed to the accounts payable department. When you see multiple approvers, you may click on the link to see the list of approver names. I will click the X button, then the back button to return to the Payment Request Center. A pending request cannot be updated or resubmitted. You may only use the copy feature. A denied payment request has been submitted, but denied through workflow process and returned to submitter. When payment requests are denied, they may be canceled or resubmitted via the update feature. Click on the transaction, then click on the approval history to review the comments from the approver, which has denied the request. If the request is to be canceled, click the X button, then click the Cancel button at the bottom of your screen. We will discuss updating the payment request to resubmit later in the training. An approved payment request has been successfully submitted, processed by workflow, but awaiting the AP voucher process. An approved payment request may only be copied. A vouchered status indicates that the payment request was successfully submitted, processed by workflow, and has completed the voucher build process. Review the Scheduled to Pay field to determine if your request has been paid or to see the date that the payment will be sent to the supplier. This may be a future date. The payment date is determined by the payment terms within the vendor master file. When supplier contracts are negotiated, as a part of their contract often, we will see that the vendor is to be paid within 30 to 60 days. Even though the transaction has been submitted, approved, AP verified, and the expense has been recorded against the department budget, the payment may not be immediately due. When we create the payment request, I will show you where to find the vendor payment terms. The paid status indicates the payment request was successfully submitted, processed by workflow, processed by AP, and the vendor has been paid. Should a supplier reach out to the submitter requesting the status of their payment, the submitter can use this page to sort or search for the invoice to provide the expected payment date, the payment reference ID, or the status of the request.